The public are told not to use popular beaches after a sewage pipe split in two. Former FBI Director James Comey indicted on 2 charges. And U.S. President Donald Trump signs order to facilitate TikTok deal. Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. Super Typhoon Regasa has caused serious damage to a sewage pipe on Hong Kong Island. The Drainage Services Department is urging the public not to swim at Deepwater Bay or Repulse Bay beaches after the pressurized sewage pipe split into 2. Celine Chan reports.
At the Deepwater Bay beach, some brown substance can be seen out in the sea. The affected pressurized sewage pipe has a diameter of 450 millimeters. On social media, the Drainage Services Department says the pipe's damage was caused by Regasa, which is described as the strongest typhoon on Earth this year. The department says they immediately suspended the pipe operation after spotting its defects during a regular inspection on Thursday. Authorities also diverted sewage to emergency treatment facilities at Repulse Bay's main sewage pumping station before releasing it into the ocean. Meanwhile, emergency repair work has been launched. The department advises members of the public to avoid swimming at the Deepwater Bay, Repulse Bay or nearby waters. While a red flag was raised at Deepwater Bay Beach, the Leisure and Cultural Services Department has not immediately announced that the water could be potentially contaminated. Some swimmers appeared unconcerned. This man said water moves around and so do dirty substances. He said it is no use for him to worry since he had already swum in the sea. The damaged section of the sewage rising mains is about a 500-meter walk from the Deepwater Bay beach, but despite standing right next to the damage, there is no noticeable unusual odor detected. Celine Chan, TVB News.
Hot on the heels of Super Typhoon Regasa, the observatory says tropical cyclone Boaloy is expected to enter the South China Sea over the weekend. The weather in the city improved as Regasa moved further away. Meanwhile, tropical cyclone Boaloy is now centered to the southeast of Manila and is forecast to move west-northwest into the South China Sea. The observatory says Boaloy will maintain some distance from Hong Kong and is unlikely to pose a direct threat to the city. But under the combined effect of a ridge of high pressure over the coast of southeastern China and Boaloy, it will be windy over the coast of southern China during the weekend. The Legislative Council has passed the Basic Housing Units Bill that regulates subdivided units in Hong Kong. With enforcement operations to begin in 2027, landlords will be able to register their properties starting in March next year. Samantha Lee tells us more.
I think the question is agreed by a majority of members present. I declare the motion passed.
The Basic Housing Units Bill was passed following the second and third readings. Secretary for Housing Winnie Ho expects Hong Kong will soon get rid of subdivided units that are worse than the lowest acceptable standard.
Once we have set out clear standards for subdivided units, new operators will enter the market to provide recognized compliant basic housing units to help meet market demand.
The legislation requires all subdivided flats to meet new standards for basic housing units. These relate to minimum internal area, headroom, fire safety, lighting and ventilation, among others. Light well facing units are allowed, but there has to be an access to the lowest floor of the light well. Starting next March, landlords can register their properties with the government. Upon successful registration, they will have a 3-year grace period to do renovations, so as to bring their flats into compliance with the requirements. Responding to concerns about possible rent hikes in the basic housing units, the housing chief said under the existing tenancy control law, the rate of rent increase on tenancy renewal is capped at 10%. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee and other senior government officials received their seasonal influenza vaccination today. Lee urged members of the public to get vaccinated promptly. On social media, John Lee said vaccination is one of the most effective ways of preventing seasonal influenza. He said the government will further enhance the SIV school outreach program and provide recombinant influenza vaccines for elderly people living in institutions. Overseas, the U.S. Justice Department has filed criminal charges against former FBI Director James Comey. Comey is accused of making false statements and obstructing a congressional investigation. If convicted, he could face up to 5 years in prison. Tracy Furness reports.
The indictment Thursday of former FBI Director James Comey marks the first time the Trump administration has succeeded in securing a grand jury indictment against a political rival. U.S. President Donald Trump has made threats to imprison his political rivals ever since he first ran for president in 2015. Prosecutors have been evaluating whether Comey lied to lawmakers during his September 30th, 2020 testimony related to the investigation into ties between Russia and Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. The 5-year statute of limitations to bringing a case is next Tuesday.
The government's case is weak, and there's a reason they waited until the 11th hour to go to the grand jury and get an indictment. The former interim U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of Virginia, Eric Siebert, didn't believe there was enough probable cause.
When asked about Comey's indictment, the U.S. president said he didn't want to get involved. He also didn't hold back with how he felt about the former FBI director.
I think I'd be allowed to get involved if I want, but I don't really choose to do so. I can only say that Comey's a bad person. He's a sick person. I think he's a sick guy, actually. He did terrible things at the FBI.
Posting a video on Substack, Comey said he was not afraid and that he knew there would be costs in standing up to Trump.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump, but we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees, and you shouldn't either. My heart is broken for the Department of Justice, but I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial and keep the faith.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order saying a proposed deal on bringing TikTok under American ownership meets key security concerns laid out by the law, a critical step in keeping the platform alive in the United States. His order extends the deadline yet again to enforce the ban or sale law until January 20th to allow more time for the new business arrangement. Danny Joe has details.
A signing ceremony took place in the Oval Office on Thursday to formalize Washington's approval of extracting TikTok's U.S. operations from the global platform. The absence of representatives from the short video app's Chinese parent company ByteDance was conspicuous.
With this executive order, you will be effectively bringing into effect the agreement that will save TikTok and ensure that it can operate safely and securely.
A very good talk with President Xi.
Trump insisted that he had a very good talk with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, saying Xi gave the deal the go-ahead. So far, neither Beijing nor TikTok have confirmed his claim. Reports say TikTok's unique algorithm that powers its video feed will be copied and retrained solely with US data, but it requires the Chinese government's approval for export.
Do you want to see the algorithm suggest more MAGA-related content prioritized?
I always like MAGA-related. If I could, I'd make it 100% MAGA-related, but it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately. No, everyone's going to be treated fairly.
The transaction, which Vice President J.D. Vance said was valued at approximately $14 billion, will see the app's U.S. assets spun off into a new joint venture. American investors, including Oracle and investment firm Silver Lake Partners, will have a considerable stake in the entity under the terms that have been revealed by the White House. Trump said Michael Dell and Rupert Murdoch are also among the investors. Chinese media reported that ByteDance would still hold a majority stake. The Foreign Ministry reiterated today that it wants a lawful and balanced solution over TikTok and called on the US to provide an open, fair and non-discriminatory environment for Chinese investors. Danny Joe, TVB News.
Still ahead, more Gaza attacks as Trump says no to Israeli plans to annex West Bank. Hong Kong ready to welcome National Day Golden Week visitors. and a look at China's largest bookstore in Shenzhen. Welcome back. The U.S. president urged his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan to stop buying Russian oil as Donald Trump signaled he could allow Turkey to buy advanced fighter jets. Trump has removed the NATO ally from its list of potential buyers of F-35s after Turkey bought air defense systems from Russia. David Garrett reports.
President Trump says it was a great honor to welcome Turkish leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan to Washington for the first time in 6 years. Trump says he and Erdogan remained in contact even while Trump was out of office, or in exile, as he called it. Erdogan was praised for building a regional power with a strong military. Trump dropping a hint that he could lift a ban on Turkey being able to buy F-35 fighter jets imposed in Trump's first term.
We're going to have a discussion, big discussion. We do a lot of trade with Turkey, and we're going to continue. We're going to do some additional trade. They want to buy F-16s, F-35s, and some other things, and we're going to talk to them about that.
Trump handing over to Erdogan.
How are you?
Fine.
Say a few words. Great guy.
İnanıyorum. Heybeliada.
Erdogan, who has been at the helm for 11 years, was sanctioned by Trump for buying Russian surface-to-air missile systems in 2020. Erdogan says he hopes to take their relationship to a new level as he confirmed discussions over the F-35s and F-16s, and as Turkish Airlines announced it will purchase at least 50 Boeing aircraft with an option on 25 more. But Trump wanted to make a point of what he thinks Turkey should not be buying.
I'd like to have him stop buying any oil from Russia while Russia continues his rampage against Ukraine. And they've been fighting. They've lost millions of lives already. And for what? You know, for what? It's disgraceful.
Following the 2-hour lunch meeting, Erdogan departed with a shake of the hand. However, the pair clearly have opposing views on Israel's war on Hamas in Gaza. Erdogan had earlier called the war a genocide. Trump hopes the leaders in the Middle East, including the president of Turkey, can help to bring the hostages home. Trump says that must be the first step to ending that conflict. David Garrett, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he will not allow Israel to annex the occupied West Bank, vowing to block a move that Arab leaders have also rejected. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had warned of doubling the pace of illegal settlement expansion in the West Bank after some major Western countries formally recognized the state of Palestine during the United Nations General Assembly. Nazvi Karim with more.
Donald Trump has been Israel's staunchest supporter over the past few weeks, even as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu becomes increasingly isolated. But any form of annexation of the West Bank is a red line for many UN members, with Netanyahu under pressure from hardliners in his coalition to take over what they call Judea and Samaria.
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Did you speak with Netanyahu about this directly?
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay?
With Israel continuing its ground offensive in Gaza City in a bid to defeat Hamas, forcing hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to flee, hopes of a ceasefire are also diminishing. Trump, though, said he is close to securing a deal that would see the release of 48 hostages still in Gaza, around 20 of them who are still believed to be alive.
We have great relationships with a lot of countries, and you may be even more happy when you find out, because we spoke with Bibi Netanyahu today, and we spoke to all the leaders in the Middle East, who are great people, and we're getting pretty close to having a deal on Gaza, and maybe even peace.
Meanwhile, Spanish Navy vessel the Furor was due to set sail from Cartagena on Thursday and accompany the flotilla of boats attempting to deliver humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said that Spain are sending military ships to provide assistance to the flotilla and conduct rescues if needed. Italy has also vowed to send a warship to protect their citizens on the flotilla, which may be vulnerable to Israeli attacks. Despite this, hundreds of protesters marched through the streets of Rome to the Italian Foreign Ministry on Thursday. Many carrying Palestine flags and signs saying "Stop the genocide." They are angry at the government for putting pressure on the global Sewage flotilla to leave their aid in Cyprus. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Premier Li Cheng told a group of American business executives it is essential that the two countries work in the same direction. Li made the remarks at a business gathering hosted by two nonprofit groups on the sidelines of the general debate of the United Nations General Assembly. The premier framed China-U.S. relations as the most important bilateral partnership in the world. Its foundation lies in grassroots connections, Li stressed, adding its sound development requires the joint efforts of the two nations. He has encouraged Americans from all walks of life to take more positive action to enhance mutual understanding and expand practical cooperation in various fields. China Manned Space Agency says the Shenzhou 20 crew aboard China's orbiting space station completed their mission's fourth spacewalk early on Friday. The taikonaut trio, Chen Dong, Chen Zhongrui, and Wang Jie, worked outside the space station for approximately 6 hours and completed all assigned tasks at 1:35 a.m. Beijing time. They were assisted by the Tiangong space station's robotic arm and a ground control team. Chen Zhongrui and Wang Jie conducted the spacewalk operations, completing the installation of debris protection devices and the inspection and maintenance of external equipment. The mainland's 8-day-long National Day Golden Week holiday begins next Wednesday. Ocean Park says it has prepared special activities to attract visitors. Mimo Singhai reports.
With Halloween approaching, Ocean Park will host its annual Halloween Fest. Speaking to the media, the theme park said it has invested an 8-digit sum into organizing the event this year. Paula Pong, the theme park's chairman, said the number of locals and tourists in the first 8 months of the year had recorded increases of 12% and 13% respectively. Pong said he is confident that the upcoming Golden Week will continue to bring an encouraging number of visitors to the park. He added staff members had traveled to several mainland cities, including Chongqing, to promote the theme park. Meanwhile, a National Day fireworks display will be held over Victoria Harbour at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Police said authorities will close the roads in Tsim Sha Tsui starting from 5 p.m. on the day. On Hong Kong Island, the area around Golden Bauhinia Square will be closed at 4:30 p.m. The police expect about 290,000 spectators will gather on both sides of the harbour for the extravaganza. Momos 9, TVB News.
Meanwhile, online bookings for Sichuan's cultural tourism facilities over the Golden Week surged by 74% when compared to last year. The Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding is expected to welcome 57,000 tourists every day during the holiday. Samantha Lee has more.
Giant panda Shilun, who was born in the U.S., shows off her climbing skills. This sleeping giant panda Da Mao was once in Canada. His father, Shang Bang, aged 21, was born in Japan. The Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding is home to more than 200 giant pandas, including some former friendship ambassadors.
Oh, we all love panda. Everybody loves panda in the world. It does help build that friendship.
At least 6 million visitors have come to the base this year. While mainlanders formed the majority, foreign tourists accounted for 4%, and there were 1,300 Hong Kong visitors. The breeding center is expected to welcome 57,000 visitors per day during this year's National Day Golden Week break. The center will implement measures to control visitors' flow, such as selling morning tickets and afternoon tickets. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
China's largest bookstore has opened in Shenzhen's Bao'an district with a collection of 300,000 books. Shenzhen's newly opened Eye of the Bay Area bookstore has attracted many residents and tourists. The bookstore covers an area of 131,000 square meters. Operating like a shopping mall, visitors can enjoy shopping and dining in addition to reading. Readers who want to do so quietly can visit the reading room for a fee of 98 yuan, and they can sit there all day long and enjoy the free drinks provided. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.